Hello people, today I'm going to be doing a review for the new Saw movie, Spiral, from the Book of Saw or whatever. But anyways, for the last 2 weeks I've watched all 8 Saw films, and the only ones I kind of liked were 1, 2, and 6. The other ones not so much. Yeah, all of them besides that, I just was not a big fan of. What I did not like at all was the route where they tried to make Jigsaw, we feel bad for him now. And, we feel bad because his wife left him and his child's dead. And so we feel bad for him, right? And yeah, like, it sucks that, his kid died in the story, but I don't think it's anywhere to go with, like, we feel bad for him route with, John Kramer, I believe is his last name. And that's really, when they try to do that, like, redemption for him, or whatever, that's where it's just, or like a descent of, like, where he was before. I just wasn't the biggest fan of that, and they try to do multiple other Saw characters, or, like, a new Jigsaw, they've done it, like, 3 times now, and here we are with Spiral. And this movie was whatever. Like, I really didn't, I didn't hate it, and I don't think it's bad, but I wouldn't call it really good. I really wouldn't call it a good movie. I'm leaning, if I had to lean one more way or another, I'd call it a bad movie over a good movie. What really made this movie watchable, though, was Chris Rock. I'm a big fan of Chris Rock. I think he's really funny, and so whenever he shows up on screen, and he just has that presence where you just can't help but smile sometimes. He has a lot of good back and forth, and there's 4 traps, and they're fine. Like, nothing of them is particularly amazing. I'm really congested, but the trap I really liked is towards the end of the 3rd act, and it involves glass, so you'll see what I mean by that once you see the movie. But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's also in this movie. He's not in the movie really too much, but he does a fine job for what he was doing. I don't know how congested I sound, but I think I sound really congested. But yeah, what else happened here? Copycat Jigsaw, and that's all you really need to know going into this. And I'll just say, within the first, 10 minutes of the movie, I leaned over to the person I saw this with, and I said, this person's the bad guy. And then, like, the end of the movie happened, I was like, called it. It was just the reveal at the end was so obvious. And they do things in the movie to, like, it just all starts pointing in that one direction at one point. And, even there's, like, one scene, how, like, when they do reveals and they show scenes again to, make it in further context. When they did it in this movie, like, I knew what scenes were going to show up because it was all a dead giveaway. This is probably, like, context-wise, it's a okay twist, but it's definitely the most predictable twist in the franchise, and so, like, maybe it is the worst twist. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. But yeah, I liked the way it was shot. Sometimes I thought it was shot very well at points. I really dug, like, the first, all the way, like, the first 10 minutes to the point where I was able to predict the ending of the movie. I was really enjoying it from here. I was like, I like the vibe that they're giving off in this movie. I like this feel that they're giving off, and I enjoy the concept of the police being tortured by Spiral, but it almost felt afraid to dive into that. And so I don't think a person that's a fan of the Saw movies to be pleased with this movie, but for an average moviegoer, I don't see them being too terribly impressed either. So what is the target audience of this movie? It's not going to impress the Saw fans, I don't think, and the moviegoer isn't going to be too impressed either. And so it just kind of finds itself stuck in the middle where I don't think anyone could really be happy with this. And so, like, I wanted the Saw movie where it's just one direction. My main problem with the sequels to Saw is that they get distracted with 2 storylines and they do a terrible job with tying them together. And it's 2 main storylines, and it feels like you're watching 2 different movies, like, especially like Saw 5 and 4, and they don't feel connected at all until maybe like last 2 minutes, and then you find a way to connect them. But, um, and so I'm glad that the movie took a central storyline, and that's fine, the detective work of it, but it sacrificed what makes the Saw movies Saw. Like, yes, we do get the traps, but it's so minimal. And yes, it's Spiral from the Book of Saw. And yes, it's meant to be kind of different from the Saw movies, and I guess that is fine. It has elements there. But besides that, there's nothing really that special to it. Because, it, it it's just, besides that, it's just a cliche detective movie. Um, I will say the main Saw theme continues to be so catchy. I'll say that for sure. And Chris Rock really made the movie watchable, and I'll say it's a solid one-time watch. I won't find myself watching this again. If you want to kill an hour and a half, go ahead and have fun with the movie. Like I said, you could really just go and watch it. Like, if you want to kill time for an hour and a half and you have absolutely nothing to do, yeah, you could see Spiral if you're interested. But if you're not interested in seeing this movie, don't. If you don't want to waste the time, don't see it. If you're the fan of the Saw movies, I'd say go ahead and see it. Well, you're probably gonna see it anyways. But I think most, like, the fans that, like, basically like all the Saw movies won't be happy with this one, I don't think, because they like traps. This movie doesn't have it. And the lack of traps doesn't necessarily bother me. It's just none of them were very intense because they were with characters I really don't care about, except for towards the third act. But yeah, and plus, towards the beginning of the third act, I think it's about to go this one really twisted direction. I was like, yes, give me like the last half hour of this. And then it doesn't necessarily go there for me. Like, they kind of show, like, I was really hoping, like, for, like, almost like a haunted house feel with, like, the last 30 minutes. I'm like, just do that and it'd be okay movie. And it just never really got there for me. And this movie just never really goes in a direction where I don't think anyone's really going to be happy with it. I know there's elements of a good idea there, but it just never took off for me, and I don't know really how to explain it. It's just, Chris Rock pitched this idea, and I'm sure the idea that he did pitch is good. It's just the execution was not so much. And sadly, like, I'm gonna give Spiral about, I wrote it down, a 4.6 out of 10. Yep, that. And yeah, it pained me to say this. I really wanted to say this revitalized the Saw franchise. I'm interested, and heck, like, if I gave this above a 6, it'd be my second favorite Saw movie, because I only gave Saw 2 a 6 out of 10, and that's the second best of the franchise, I think. But who knows? It's watchable. It's not terribly bad, and like I said, if you want to waste some time, watch it, go ahead. But yeah, if you're not a big fan of this genre at all and you want to see a good movie, it doesn't really offer that. And yeah, anyways, that's my review for Spiral. Coming up soon, we will have a Quiet Place Part 2. I'm so excited for that movie. And yeah, anyways, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that, and adios.